Hey, what's going on guys, WatchView here. Today in this video I'm going to be doing my review over the Orient Bambino. And if you guys are interested in checking out the pricing and availability on this watch, the link is in the description. Now, Orient Watch was formally established on July 13th, 1950 in Tokyo. However, the history of Orient Watch really dates back to 1901 when Shigeru Yoshida, the founder of Orient, opened a wholesale watch store in Ueno, Japan. Now, Japan has a big history of horology. Some well-known brands reside there, such as Citizen, Seiko, G-Shock, and of course, Orient. However, Orient faced a hardship in the 1970s with the introduction of inexpensive quartz watches. Seiko and Citizen took the path of mass production quartz watches. Orient, on the other hand, stuck with what it did best, making mechanical watches. The dial has a resemblance to Bauhaus. Everything is quite neat and clean. The dial's surface is a deep black with a slight sheen to it. Not full gloss, but rather a satin finish. This is particularly noticeable because the dial's surface is domed, so there are areas that pick up and reflect light differently. Around the perimeter of the dial are small white markers for the minutes and seconds. The hour index is marked with a large trapezoidal polished steel marker. The markers have a three-sided sort of pyramidal shape that adds some depth and some interesting reflections. The markers at 3, 6, 9, and 12 are almost double the size than the others, but the 3 o'clock marker gets cut off by the date window. The window is marked with a white outline, and the disc underneath is white with black text. Now, some people say that with a white date window, it disrupts the flow of the dial, but I disagree. I think it works in this case. The shape of the case is classic. It has a cylinder shape with flat sides and relatively short lugs that taper towards the case. The case is capped with a thin, slightly beveled bezel that leads to the domed crystal. Though it's thin, it's proportionate well to the case and dial. The metal is polished on the top surfaces of the watch and lightly brushed on the sides, which is a drop of nice detailing that serves to break up the sheen of the watch. The crown, which is positioned at 3 o'clock, is fairly small. It also has the Orient logo with the 2 lions on both sides of the shield etched into the surface. It's nice to see an inexpensive watch have such a high level of detailing. Now, my favorite part of this watch is the domed crystal. It gives such a retro and classic look. It kind of reminds me of the Corum bubble. The crystal measures 37 millimeters wide, but then add 4 millimeters that makes up for the height, and you have one quite expansive dome. The case and crystal combined measure to a diameter of 40.5 millimeters, 46 millimeters lug to lug, and 12 millimeters thick, with a lug width at 21 millimeters. The band is quite comfortable, as one might expect, seeing as it's made out of genuine leather. Now, as far as what I dislike about the watch, there's not much to dislike, and for the sheer fact that this watch sits under $150, one can't be too nitpicky. Still, this watch has 2 unsavory qualities. The first is that this watch is water resistant, but to no depth. Although one could argue that this watch is a dress watch and doesn't need to be waterproof to any depth. A couple raindrops won't hurt, but anything more, it just might. Lastly, the movement of the rotor is quite loud, so when you place your watch in your watch winder near your bed, you might want to choose a different room so you don't have to hear the sound of the rotor. I think this is a fantastic watch, and if any of you are watching are in the market for a affordable dress watch, this might be one you want to consider. But anyways guys, thank you all for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. This has been WatchView. Peace.